dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1. At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. My name is Irene Muchuma Odem. On sign language interpretation, we have Brian Muraro. Well, how prepared are you for retirement? Are you banking on your savings? Well, there is a sensitization forum in Nyeri. We'll be linking live with my colleague, Trevor Ngendo, who is on the ground. Let's interact on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Our top focus this afternoon, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has spoken to Sudanese Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the head of state and the head of paramilitary rapid support forces, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, amid fighting between the two forces for a ceasefire. Blinken, through a tweet, underscored the urgent need to an end of hostilities and stressed the need to ensure safety of diplomatic personnel and aid workers.
Close to 200 people have been killed since fighting broke on Saturday between the rival factions that disagreed on how the country should transition to civilian rule. The Rapid Support Forces RSF has acknowledged the phone call with the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on its social media page, but has given no firm commitment to end the hostilities. A second 3-hour ceasefire on Monday night was barely honored, with both sides blaming each other for the breach. An EU diplomat was assaulted in his official residence, while the UN said its agencies' warehouses and guest houses were shot at and looted. This is as some civilian homes have also been broken into and the residents assaulted, but RSF denies involvement. The two military leaders, Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the head of Paramilitary Rapid Support Force, Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, disagree on Sudan's future, including the integration of RSF into the national army. Iraqi President Abdulatif Rashid is the latest leader who has expressed his country's willingness to host a dialogue between the rival parties in Sudan to negotiate an end to the crisis in the African country. President Rashid expressed firm confidence in the wisdom of brothers in Sudan, saying that the ability to hold peaceful and democratic dialogue is enough to overcome this crisis by immediately stopping fighting and armed actions. Michael Mandiga for Lunchtime News.
On a political note, business came to a standstill in Siaya County when irate villagers took to the streets to protest alleged misconduct by Deputy Governor William Oduol. The villagers, who trekked 4 kilometers, accused the Siaya Deputy Governor of planning to disrupt a political meeting in the region and undermine the authority of Governor James Orengo.
Before you come and start disturbing Alego Usonga, saying that you are the person who is representing Alego Usonga, please come back to the people. We want to ask the governor that the governor, we are the one who gave you this gentleman from Alego Usonga. We the people of Alego Usonga, today we are rejecting him.
What is inching him we have known, we've digged it so deep. And we've known that he wants to loot the public coffers of Siaya County. And attendingly is the stumbling block. Yes. So this is his plan and tricks that he is planning to eradicate or eliminate everybody that stands or blocks his way to loot public funds. Will not be tolerated and will not be accepted. We want to send to the County Assembly of Siaya, which is headed by the Speaker Okode, that this is the high time you must pitch this incredible person called William Oduol. You have no reason to leave Oduol in the office. Yes. Because this guy is at your hand. It is through your office that we can get all these resolutions. You should impeach Oduol as early as yesterday.
Kitui County woman member of the National Assembly, Irene has called for collaborative effort in building education standards in the county. Kasalu says many schools in the region are in dire need of infrastructural development. The lawmaker spoke in Mwingi North when she donated beddings to learners at the Kalatine boarding and primary school in Mumoni Ward. The school has been struggling to accommodate students following the destruction of a dormitory by an inferno.
Kuna bucket, kuna bed sheet ambazo tumetumwa leo na Mheshimiwa Kasalu tupate kuletea hao watoto wa Kalatine boarding school.
Hii shule haina fence kwa mambo ya usalama. Iko kuna mto unapita karibu. Tungependa kuwe na drift ya kufuka ili kuja shule.
Kwa hivyo na ningeomba kuuliza the stakeholders, the well wishers, waungane pamoja tuweze jengewa ndomo.
All right, the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy is set to improve communication delivery in 15 counties, including Samburu County. This as the Principal Administrative Secretary Ministry, Eric Kiraithe, in the Ministry of ICT, Eric Kiraithe has pointed out that about 1.7 million people are yet to receive SIM communications.
In a visit to Maralal, Samburu County, the Principal Administrative Secretary, Eric Kiraithe, pointed out the gaps in communication where 3.6% of Kenyans, which is 1.7 million people, are yet to get SIM communications and 1,137 are yet to receive TV and radio services.
You'll be able to get at least 3G connectivity in almost every settled area of Samburu. But consequently, we shall also do another survey, and it is part of this evaluation visit to ensure that any areas which will be left served or underserved will be covered. In the last 5 years, the authority has been implementing this project.
The ministry has vowed to improve communication in 15 counties in an aid to reach 330,342 people. In Samburu County, Ilaut, Ngurunit, Lupusi and Parkati benefited a lot in third phase, though insecurity affected most parts, especially Ngilai, Masakita, Loikumkum and Aswari.
Connectivity is a service which we cannot afford to say it's there when it is not there, because citizens will lose such essential services like health. Citizens, the older citizen will not be able to access that stipend through M-Pesa services. Other services like drought relief allowances from the government will not be done. Application of important documents like passports, driving licenses and so on will also be difficult.
Serafina Nairobi for Lunchtime News.
The tough economic times coupled with droughts have been cited as some of the biggest impediments to the free school feeding program in Naivasha, Nakuru County. Stakeholders are raising concerns that over 1,600 students could miss out on classes if the adequate measures are not put in place to address the obtaining situation. Public schools in informal settlements are now appealing for food support in order to keep hundreds of students in class.
Hawa watoto wanahitaji karibu gunia 600 kwa muhula za mahindi, na wazazi wameshindwa hata kufikisha kununua gunia 200 kwa sababu watoto wengi 80% ya watoto hapa wazazi wao wanafanya katika mashamba ya maua,
na wafanyikazi wa maua ambao wengine wanapata 7,000 per month, ambayo it's way below living wage. Kwa hivyo wazazi, mtu akipata 7,000 anashindwa ni nyumba, ni chakula, ni mavazi ama ni shule. Kwa hivyo hii ni shule inataka usaidizi mwingi sana, kwa sababu kama saa hii ile deni iko kwa hii shule, hata kununua chakula ni shida.
The Isiolo County Bursary Fund Board Committee has warned applicants against submitting more than one application as witnessed in the past, saying they risk disqualification. The committee discouraged those able to pay fees for their children from applying for bursary funds to enable only those who are genuinely needy to benefit.
When we were supposed to elect the chairman of the Isiolo County Bursary Board, today was inaugural meeting. They have selected their chairperson, Madam Sainab, who we hope will do a good job to ensure that every child in Isiolo who is vulnerable will get education through the bursary.
Kama unaweza kulipa, please. Hata sisi tulikuwako wengine hatukuwa na kazi kubwa, lakini tuliangalia tukasema hatutaki bursary iende kwa yule mtu ambaye anastahili.
So mimi kama grandmother, mimi najua watoto wako secondary wote ni magrand. Ni lazima niwachunge kwa macho kali. Wezi sema huyu ni fulani, huyu ni hivi, huyu ni hivi. At your level, at your ward level, make sure you take care of the poor ones.
Cases of burglary in churches are becoming rampant in the county of Kisii, where several churches have reported theft of their equipment, disrupting their worship services. The latest incident happened in Nyamache Main SDA Church, which has lost equipment worth thousands of shillings.
An illegal business has allegedly been going on for some time in Kisii region, where criminals are breaking into worship centers and stealing music equipment. Nyamache Main SDA Church has lost its equipment worth 800,000 shillings in the latest incident.
Jambo hili ni kama limeenea sana katika
kaunti zetu zote mbili, ikiwa kaunti ya Nyamira, ikiwa kaunti ya Kisii. Makanisa yamewahi kuvamiwa sana na vitu vingi ambao ni vyombo mbalimbali hasa electronics zimewahi kuibiwa.
Speaking at the church in Bobasi constituency, former NEMA director Samuel Nyangeso condemned the theft, claiming it was an organized illicit business where the stolen equipment was hired out to unsuspecting people.
Wakati unataka kufanya biashara zako, kama ni biashara aina hiyo, endeni kwa duka, nunueni. Sio kuja kutuma watu waje kufunja makanisa ili waweze kuchukua mambo kama haya.
Nyangeso has called on the national and county governments to conduct an investigation on people operating business with similar equipment in order to identify the stolen ones. Residents and worshippers were equally advised to guard against the theft of the equipment by reporting the suspect to the authorities. Tilio Marco for Lunchtime News.
All right, let's cross over to Naivasha in the county of Nakuru, where a section of environment stakeholders are having a sensitization forum in the area. Let's now link up with my colleague, Jael Opiche, who is on the ground. Jael, good afternoon.
Thank you, Irene. Muchuma back at the studio, and good afternoon to you too. We are coming to you live from Lake Naivasha Country Club, where we've attended a conference that has been organized by World Resource Initiative that partnered with Nairobi County government, and and Irene, what the conference is all about, it's about air quality pollution, and main focus is on air pollution that has been affecting the Nairobi County. And I will be talking to Irene, I will be talking to the head of the head of air quality pollution, who will be talking to us about the project that they have actually proposed today that will curb the menace of air pollution in Nairobi. Thank you. Welcome, and thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us.
Yes.
So your name and the position that you hold, and the project that actually you've proposed today on the clean air catalyst that intends to curb the menace, the air pollution menace in Nairobi.
Thank you, Jael. My name is George Mwaniki, the head of air quality at World Resources Institute Africa, and we have brought in one of a very big project in Nairobi that aims at addressing air pollution challenges in the city. It's called the Clean Air Catalyst, and is focusing on really supporting the county government of Nairobi to take action to reduce air pollution. As you might know, in Nairobi, the number one driver of health care cost is actually upper and lower respiratory diseases, which is very closely linked to air pollution issues. And the project is going to try and address some of that. Nairobi also, we are losing around 8,000 people every year because of air pollution, and we need to also try and address that. So the project is really focused on working with the county government and other stakeholders to reduce the pollution levels in Nairobi.
And you've talked about mapping out specific areas in Nairobi. So what are some of the things that you did to ensure that actually these are the areas that have been mapped out that has been hugely affected by air pollution?
Very good question. One of the things is Nairobi does not have enough data on air pollution or air quality levels. So what we did, we actually mapped out the city in terms of various pollutants, and we mainly use satellite data to look at the city and some of the areas that are heavily affected. And some of the areas are mainly in the eastlands areas, and some of the drivers of air pollution in the city is mainly vehicles, waste burning, industrial emissions, and also using biomass-based fuels for households. So we have mapped those areas, mainly in the eastern part of Nairobi. We are going to be establishing several monitoring stations to see what are the levels of emissions, and then hopefully that data will be used by the county government to inform their decisions to reduce emissions levels in the city.
And maybe my last question would be, you've talked about the program running for 5 years. Why 5 years? And are you also planning to, what are some of the mechanisms that you're going to put in place to ensure that you also curb the air pollution in other parts of the country apart from Nairobi County?
Very good question. The reason we are running this for 5 years is mainly most of the projects on air pollution in Nairobi or in Kenya have focused on the research part, just understanding who are the major drivers and what are the levels of emission. But this project is a little bit innovative, and it wants to go beyond monitoring emission levels, but also focusing on actions. I have to say this is a pilot project. So once we work on it with the city and see the progress, then it will be very easy to make a case to USAID and other partners on how we can expand this countrywide, and hopefully we'll be able also to capture several other countries in Africa.
Thank you so much. And maybe, Irene, one more person will also be talking to Dandora 2 member of County Assembly, Honorable Matara Ongwae. Actually, Dandora is the epicenter of pollution, and having him here, maybe he can tell us about some of the mechanisms that him as the member of County Assembly is going to put in place to ensure that the project that has been initiated may actually be success. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Muchuma Matara, representing Dandora 2 Ward in Embakasi North Sub-County. And first is to appreciate the engagement that we're having here with multi-sectoral partners from the international committee and community and private sector. And you realize Nairobi, we've already done the air quality policy, and we've already have an act in place which was published, gazetted last week. And as an assembly, ours is to just sort out the legislative issues, because we are moving to the next stage after they've done the monitoring part of it, and they've done a report which they're going to make it available to us, which will inform our planning priorities towards alleviating the effects of air pollution, because you realize the places that we get to lead, especially in the poor backgrounds in the east of Nairobi. People are really suffering in terms of air pollution and its attendant effects, because it really affects the health of the people that we get to lead. So we are trying to put measures in place to ensure that we give the necessary support, and we are, after the report is tabled to us, we are going to do the regulations which are going to give life to the acts that we passed, and we are going to involve the community through sensitization programs to have their input towards achieving the desired result, with the blessings of our able Governor Sakaja, which he has given the political goodwill which is important towards achieving the results as a sector that we are prioritizing on.
Okay, that's it from me here, Irene. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Jael. Jael reporting live from Naivasha in the county of Nakuru, where she's part of a meeting that is bringing together environmental stakeholders to address issues in regards to conservation of environment, as well as how safe can we keep our environment to be. And on that note, we are taking a breather. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Had oathing places in Nairobi and other areas. This was being organized under the umbrella of the Kenya African Union, and nobody would suspect, because sometimes we used to have our meetings in my office in Kiburi House after having cow meeting in the evening. Then later at night we bring our central committee of Mau Mau when everybody else who is not a member has left.
We knew our people were ignorant, and they were ruled by the traditional customs, and where they thought that they held that oath could kill. And we tried to exploit the ignorance of our people.
that?
Did he fall? Mr. Bai! Wake up, Mr. Bai!
Hey, help him sit
Mr.
up.
Bai.
Help him sit up.
Where are you going?
Liam, I have to go to the hospital.
To see Harvey, right? I'll give you a ride.
It's
Come
fine, I can go myself.
on. We're losers in a game of love, right?
I don't know whether I am or not now.
But you treated me like your feelings garbage can.
After the dust settled on rigorous campaigns, Kenyans are waiting for elected leaders to deliver on their pledges.
Have you used the hustler fund?
When your children sleep hungry, when you can borrow 500 or 1,000 shillings and they have some food on the table.
So the 500 you're giving me now is my purchasing power has literally been diminished comparing to probably even January or December.
But how have the leaders performed so far?
In terms of the amount of money that is being disbursed, the minimum being 500 shillings, how do you scorecard that?
No, that I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
I'll still give it 5 out of 5.
Every week, we bring you an honest assessment of the national and county governments.
What is the impact of the Hustlers Fund?
There are people who borrow praying they don't have to pay back. For example, they pray that the owner dies.
The Scorecard. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. You're watching the Lunchtime News. Now, we will shut down all car wash sheds, legal or illegal, to save water in this season of drought, says engineer Nahashon Muguna, CEO, Nairobi Water and Sewer Company. This move is in line with the crackdown on illegal water connection that was issued by Principal Secretary for Water, Paul Rono.
On illegal water connections, Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company Chief Executive Officer Nahashon Muguna regretted that most of the culprits were those operating car wash sheds. Nahashon mentioned that the crackdown will continue to ensure illegal water connections are terminated.
We are going to disconnect all car washes and all connections which are not metered, and even the ones which are metered, we are removing them because also we have shortage of water in the city. Water is only available for consumption, not for cleaning vehicles. Vehicles should be cleaned in the petrol stations, and also people should use more water to clean their vehicles. 8
people were arrested on Tuesday during the crackdown.
So far we have arrested, here we have arrested around 80 people, but we are rationalizing those who are thieves and those who are not thieves.
Hassan Swale, a businessman, lauded the move, saying that those who have illegal car washes should be ready to face the full force of the law.
Wale ambao wameiba wachukuliwe hatua. Sisi hatuna ubaya, tumefurahi. Ikishikiliwa hivyo sheria, kila kitu kitakuwa fine.
Joan Junge for Lunchtime News.
All right, back to environmental concerns. The ambassador of Costa Rica to Kenya, Giovanna Stark, has called for concerted efforts and innovations to eliminate plastic pollution in the country. Speaking in Mombasa during a meeting with young innovators at the Swahili Port Hub, Stark challenged the youth to be at the forefront in planting trees and protecting the environment from destruction. She further lauded a section of the youth at the coast for their initiative to make the Indian Ocean waters free from plastics. In 2022, Kenya banned use of plastic bans in an effort to curb pollution.
The role that all of you can play in the path of where we all want to go to, and that's a sustainable environment for us and for the future generations. We'll be negotiating this legally binding agreement to ban plastics, and this will take about 2 years if all goes well. And I think it will be extremely important that the initiatives of local CBOs, local governments, local communities can be shared during the negotiations.
Residents in Kitengela town are up in arms over uncollected garbage, which they say has created an unhealthy environment in parts of the town. The residents say garbage in gunny bags are strewn all over and are emitting an awful stench that continues to choke the life out of the busy Kajiado town. They now want an immediate action taken by the county government and action also taken against those responsible for the filth.
Mimi ni mkaaji wa Kitengela. Mara ya kwanza ningependa kuongelea mambo kuhusu uchafu. Uchafu wa Kitengela. Tukiangalia katika hii mtaro ya hapa, iko na uchafu mwingi Kitengela. Na serikali huwa inaona na imepeana kwa private kwa hizi uchafu yenye iko hapa. So kila siku wanatoa uchafu, ukifika usiku wanarudisha uchafu hapo kwa barabara. Ndio onekana ati wanafanya kazi. Na tukiangalia mazingira vizuri, inaongeza kipindupindu ambayo imejaa saa hii imeenea Kenya mzima.
Kulingana na hii vile hii mvua imenyesha, tunaona hii kaunti ya Kajiado kuna mahali imeregea kikazi. Ukiangalia hii kaunti, hii takataka inatolewa kwa mtaro inawekwa hapa juu. Na hii kitu kuna vile hata inaweza letea hii kaunti magonjwa zingine kama kolera. Tunasikia juzi hapo kulikuwa kumetangazwa kuko na kolera, na tunaona ni hii uchafu hii inaonekana hapa hii area. So tungetaka kaunti wakitoa hii takataka kwa mtaro hii uchafu juu, zingine mpaka ni vitu chafu zinatolewa kwa mahoteli zinakuja kutupwa hapa mbele hapa juu, na ni kwa barabara na hii ni highway. Wajua vile watakuwa wakiokota hii takataka wana direct from mtaro zinawekwa kwa road zinaenda kutupwa mahali zinafaa. So hii kitu tungeambia governor na wale wahusika at least washughulike, wasituletee mambo zingine hapa kwa hii town. Na hii town ni town tumeishi na town haina uchafu, lakini sasa hizi tumeona imeanza kuharibika kulingana na vile mvua inanyesha.
It's for us time to get to an interactive segment. We cross over to Nyeri, where my colleague Trevor Ngendo is attending a forum that is bringing together members in regards to Retirement Benefits Authority. And Ngendo, good afternoon.
The iPhone.
A very good afternoon to you, Irene Muchuma. We are coming to you live from Nyeri County, where the Retirement Benefits Authority has embarked on a mission in partnership with the Huduma Kenya to sensitize the public on the available and to sensitize them and raise awareness on the benefits of saving and for the retirement. And now joining me here is the Director for ICT, Peter Ngonyi, who will be shedding more light to us on what it really means and the benefits of saving for retirement. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you on KBC. Please, maybe you can kindly begin by telling us, why should we be saving?
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you KBC for inviting us for this media briefing. First of all, we are Retirement Benefit Authority. The Retirement Benefit Authority is a body which was formed through the RB Act with about 5 mandates. And the first mandate is to regulate and supervise the pension industry. We are also in charge of protect the members and sponsors' interests. We're also in charge of promoting and developing the sector, and also advising the government on the policy areas that need to be implemented on the pension industry. That's basically what RBA deals with. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us about, you recently celebrated 20 years since your inception. What are some of the achievements that you're really proud of that you've been able to achieve so far?
Thank you very much. Actually, the 20 years have been momentous to us. We are very grateful to God that He has given us the 20 years at the pension industry at RBA. First of all, we have seen tremendous growth. In terms of membership, we are almost now about, I think, 3.2 million. We have seen the industry go to about 1.8 trillion so far. We have also seen the coverage moving from as low as 8% now to a region of about 23%. At the same time, we have also seen the service providers increasing. Like, for example, now we have about 11 custodians, we have about 24 fund managers, and allow 32, 33 administrators. So the growth has been tremendous, and we have seen a lot of achievement.
Mm-hmm. Among your key focus, this is to extend the coverage from the current 25% to 30%. How do you seek to achieve this?
Great. One thing we are aware of, and even which is also a government policy, is to focus on the informal sector, because we realize that the formal sector is basically more like covered, and the 20% which is covered is basically on the formal sector, but the 80% falls within the informal sector. And this informal sector includes the Juakali sector, and this is where we are putting a lot of focus, because we ensure that the mama boga, the guys of the borders, those professionals who have got no other form of employment can be able to join the nest of pension. And that's why actually we are here to sensitize as many people as possible to know about pension, and basically the people in the informal sector, because we believe and know that's where the growth is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, sir. And looking at me, you'd realize that I'm a young person probably, and of course this is a fact that I'm in my early 20s. Why do you think I need to save? Like, what's the reason? Why should I be saving for retirement benefit when I have several decades ahead of me?
That's a great question. You see, they say that young people, that's where the growth is. And you know that when you are 20 years, you have about, for you to get to 60 years, you have about 40 years. Those 40 years, those are the time that you'll be able to focus on your retirement. And we are trying as much as possible to tell the young people, because we know that age poverty, we don't want you to enjoy your life eating all your money, squandering all your money by going to clubs, enjoying life with the money that you're earning, and forgetting that the future is coming. So you're trying to sensitize especially the young people. Immediately you get any form of employment, start saving for retirement. And currently you have come with a various mode of pension saving. You can even join using a mobile platform through digitization. And using this, any person, whoever they are, at the comfort of your desk, or even at the comfort at your home, you can save for pension. You have various products like the Bao Pension Plan, you have the Mobikieza. There are various platforms that members who are young can be able to save for pension. We want to ensure that they don't die poor, they can focus at the edge, because from the start, once you get employment, you should focus to the end, and the end is at retirement, and you need to think about that when you are young. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there are these registered pension plans. What would you say about them? I'm coming back to the digitization. I need you to expound more on that. But tell us, are there advantages that are there as opposed to maybe what are some of the advantages that are there for people who register to or join the RBA to the registered pension plans?
Great. First of all pension schemes in Kenya are registered by the Retirement Benefit Authority. They apply to us for registration. But now the benefit of now saving through a registered scheme are many. First of all, when you save through a pension scheme, you enjoy tax incentive. Let me give an example of that. For example, if you're earning, say, 50,000 Kenya shillings, and you don't belong to any pension scheme, the taxable amount is going to be 50,000. But this year of saving for a pension scheme, say you are saving 10,000. Out of the 50,000, the taxable amount is going to be 40,000. So you already enjoy a tax break or a tax incentive by joining a registered pension scheme. The other area that also helps when you join a pension scheme is we all know that using this saving for retirement, you can also be able to join a medical scheme, so that when you grow old or when you retire, you can join a medical through the pension scheme. You can join a medical scheme, so that when you grow old, you have a form of coverage. Besides the NSSF, you also have a private scheme that can take care of your medical. And you also know that pension above 65 years is not taxed. So if you can save your money until 65 years, you get all your benefits with no tax. You have a tax break there. Yes.
And how, now talking of you saving up to that point and then you are able to have a tax break and receiving the money, how accessible is the money? How, if should I want to access the money? Or for example, imagining a case scenario where I probably lose my job, where my employer now will not be contributing for my pension savings, how accessible is that money to me?
That's a very good question. Pension is a mode of saving, and in case you lose your job, you can be able to get 50% of your own contribution. And COVID has shown us that you need to save, because during COVID, most of the people lost their jobs. But what happened? Most of the people who are saving for pension were able to access some of their benefits, and they're able to stay afloat. They're able to take their kid to school. They're able to have food on the table for their children. So by saving for pension, that money is accessible. Though the other contributor can only access after retirement, you can be able to access some bit of money and help you to stay afloat even when things are not working out for you. Yeah.
All right, let me engage you again on digitization. Going back to digitization, what are some of the online tools that you've put in place to enable access to these digital platforms, or the RBA digital platform?
Great, that's a good question. The digitization of platform or the journey has been tremendous to us. We have been able to open up most of the services to the public. For example, you have our website. Through our website, you can be able to access all our services. We also have what you call our whistleblower portal. Our whistleblower portal is where we allow a member or any person who feel like maybe money is being misused in their pension scheme, you can be able to whistleblow to us, and through that we can be able now to follow up at the authority and make sure that we can be able to make sure that we are able to bring that scheme to a compliance, or having that issue that is being reported being closed. The other area is we also have a complaints portal. This is where, in case you're a member and you find maybe you have a complaint that you want to file regarding your scheme, or maybe regarding your trustees, you can be able to file a complaint, and that complaint comes to us and we deal with it, and you can be able to act on that complaint even before things get worse, and ensure that the member benefits are protected. Yes.
So there is the process of registration now that you mentioned about your website. Yes. Is it as easily accessible to other people? How is it? You can talk about it.
Yes, our website is accessible to everyone, but we have also provided a platform where our schemes administrators, fund managers and custodians can be able to file their returns. For example, a scheme which want to get registered, they can come through the administrator through our online portal and register online. Once they register online, then it follows the process of registration, which we have given us ourselves about 10 to 15 days to register a scheme. So the process of registration is pretty easy. And what do you require to get a registered as a pension scheme? Easy. You only require to fill a registration form, then provide us with the trustee of the scheme. With those two things, we are ready to go and you can register a scheme. Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. So who exactly qualifies for this? You said for as long as you're an adult, you qualify to start saving for pension?
Yes, as long as you have an ID and you have any form of income, you can save for retirement through various platforms, through administrators, through various schemes that are available. We have IPPs, what you call individual pension plans, if you don't belong to any form of formal employment, or even if you belong to any form of formal employment, you as a member and also as an employer can also join an IPP and be able to save for retirement. Mm-hmm. Yes.
As we conclude now, maybe you can tell us the reason you're here today in Nyeri is to sensitize the people. How is the progress so far? You intend to be here for how long?
The progress in Nyeri has been tremendous, and we are very happy with the Nyeri people. We had the county commissioner coming to join us to help open up the program. I think in terms of membership, people are coming. We have seen a lot of interest from the member of public coming to know what we do. We are trying to sensitize them, providing for them the avenues that are available to save, and also providing avenues for them. If you have any complaint, you have got any issue regarding your pension, you can come and file with us. You can come and ask any inquiry on pension, and we are ready to answer those questions.
All right. Your parting shot?
My parting shot is it is never too late to save. and they should focus on retirement immediately we get employed. It's a safety net. It's a good thing to have. You know, even if you are working as a juakali or you are working on a private practice, a time will come you'll not be able to work. It's a good thing to save so they can be able to protect our future.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. It's been a pleasure to have you around. Thank you for hosting us here in Nyeri County. It has been a wonderful pleasure indeed.
Thank you too. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Irene, there you have it now. To young people like me and others who are around even this county of Nyeri, they are at Huduma Center here in Nyeri County. You are encouraged to come here and listen to what they have to say, what they're saving, and even do your inquiries here. Remember, they've said that it's never too late to begin saving, and it's never too early again. So for as long as you're 18 years old and you have an income, it doesn't matter whether you're employed or in the public sector, you are welcomed to start saving for your retirement. Back to you, Irene, in studio. We will be back at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. with a complete package in our business news. So to our viewers, stick around.
Trevor, good to have you. Thank you. Across the borders now, Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook has launched the company's first retail store in Mumbai, India. A second store is also set to be opened in capital city Delhi. Until now, Apple products have been available in India either online or through a vast network of resellers. Here now are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
The new stores come at a time when Apple is trying to deepen its retail push in India. The iPhone is still an aspiration product in the price-sensitive Indian market, where more than 95% of smartphones run on Google's Android platform. Apple has long tried to open physical retail stores in India. Its original plans for 2021 were derailed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. India is also rising as a manufacturing base for iPhones as Apple diversifies its supply chains away from China. India now accounts for 5% of total iPhone production. Meanwhile, UBS has announced changes to its $6 billion share buyback program following its takeover by Credit Suisse. UBS says it will use some of the shares for takeover rather than cancelling them as originally planned after getting approval from the Swiss takeover board. Switzerland's biggest bank agreed last month to buy rival Credit Suisse for 3 billion Swiss franc in stock and agreed to assume up to 5 billion franc in losses in a merger engineered by Swiss authorities to avoid more market share turmoil. In a merger engineered by Swiss authorities to avoid more market-shaking turmoil in the global banking industry, UBS says it had decided against issuing new shares for the deal, but would instead use shares that had already been issued. Finally, the Corfu Museum of Asian Art in Greece is holding an exhibition to showcase one of the largest Chinese art collections in Europe, allowing visitors to travel in time and space to appreciate and learn more about time-honored Chinese culture through them. The ongoing exhibition puts diverse artworks made from various materials under the spotlight, such as sculptures, ornaments, calligraphy, and paintings. From carvings on stone to porcelain vases, some of the artifacts in the museum date back to Neolithic period. The exhibition unfolds thousands of years of culture through the artifacts like statues, pieces of pottery, and brass work of art. Terry Njenga, Lunchtime News.
In sports, reigning champions Real Madrid will look to book their place in the semi-finals of the Champions League as they head to Chelsea for their quarter-final second leg with a 2-0 aggregate advantage over the Blues. Meanwhile, AC Milan traveled to Diego Armando Maradona Stadium with a 1-0 aggregate lead to face Napoli.
Carlo Ancelotti's side are in a commanding position in the tie as Real Madrid won 2-0 when both teams locked horn in their first leg tie at the Santiago Bernabeu. For Real Madrid, it presents an opportunity to claim a staggering 15th title should they finish the job against lackluster Chelsea, who failed to win any of their last 6 games in all competitions, as defender Kalidou Koulibaly has been ruled out with a thigh muscle strain. Meanwhile, AC Milan traveled to Diego Armando Maradona Stadium with a 1-0 aggregate lead to face Napoli. Stefano Pioli's side will be looking to secure a place in the semi-finals for the first time in 16 years.
And on that sporting note, we come to the end of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Thank you for your time.